I am Jessica Butts. Welcome to the Front Seat Life podcast, where I help you learn to be unapologetically who you are and live your life from the front seat through personal development, self-awareness, and real and raw conversations about life, love, and business. I'm a former psychotherapist and couples counselor turned author, speaker, coach, and lovingly, well, I hope so anyway, been nicknamed Jessica Kick Butts because I believe sometimes we need hand holding and sometimes we just need to be told the freaking truth, even if it hurts a little. So each week I'll be sharing truth bombs, life lessons, powerful interviews, and intuitive insights to empower you to get up, show up, and live your life in a new, powerful, authentic way. So if you're ready to climb into your front seat and embark on a journey of total transformation, you have come to the right place. Start your engines. Let's do this. Hello, Front Seat Lifers! It is your host, Jessica Butts, and I am excited because today is the second part of the three-part series that I'm doing. So last week, a lot of you have been asking, actually, so let's back up a second. A lot of you have been asking, why is the sequence out of order? What happened to episode 74? So episode 74 was muted for the Black Lives Matter movement, and I was honored and happy to do that. That was all about highlighting, for me, some Black female podcasts. And I listed a whole bunch of them in my emails and my Instagram, and I was muting myself out of solidarity and absolute respect for this much needed movement happening in our country at the moment and around the world for that matter. So that's what happened to episode 74. Lots of you have been asking. Episode 75, we're not in Mercury retrograde yet, but for some reason there was some weird glitch and it took forever. In fact, some of you still aren't seeing it, but I ask you to just refresh. You've always got to be connected to Wi-Fi, refresh, and it should come up. But last week's episode got a lot of feedback. I shared my first kind of stage of the business program that I'm very, very proud of, called Don't Do Stuff You Suck At, Entrepreneurial School for Creative and Visionary Intuitive Types. And I shared also some of my feelings about Dave and Rachel Hollis's separation. I guess I shouldn't laugh, but about... Anyway, go listen to the episode. I don't really want to get into that today, but because today is the second section. So when I wrote both of my books, this question was posed to me many, many years ago about who are you, where are you going, and how are you going to get there? And it was profound for me at the time. It was a profound realization. Those are profound questions because I kind of didn't know any of them. I didn't at the time know who I was. I was getting a divorce and starting my life all over and was just a mess and I had no idea. I certainly didn't know where I was going because I wasn't spending any time thinking about it. I wasn't planning it. I was living 5 minutes in front of my face. I was absolutely in survival mode. And then I didn't really know, even as a super J, a super strong 30 out of 30 on the Myers-Briggs scale on the J type, I didn't really know how I was going to get there either because I hadn't done them in sequence. And so as we get into section 2 today, or step 2, I guess you could call it, is you can't do one of these without the other. So figuring out who you are is fantastic and great, and it needs the other two. And you can't go to the third step, which will be next week's podcast, of how are you going to get there without figuring out who the heck you are and where you're going. So these need to be done in sequence as my 8 stages for the Don't Do Stuff You Suck At Entrepreneurial School. There's also 8 stages that need to go in order. I've decided to do these episodes in 3 sections because I realized these stages kind of also go in alignment with these 3 questions. This is how my books have been written. And I just want you to get a sense of what it's like to build the foundation of who are you, where are you going, and how are you going to get there. So let's jump in to today, which is how or where are you going? So again, last week was all about the foundation and personality type and understanding some of your family of origin and your codependency and the side of that, an infinity symbol that is you when you're figuring out your ICA, your ideal client avatar, and how important, not important, critical. Like, what if there's a more important word than critical? It's more critical than critical, is figuring out who you are. And that's the basis of all of the work I do in relationship work when I was a couples counselor, as a coach, is knowing who you are, finding your voice, understanding your family of origin, understanding your codependent style, understanding your personality type, understanding your core values, so that you can come into a relationship fully loaded, knowing who you are, so that you can then be in better relationship with others. Because what I see over and over and over again with my female clients in particular, or almost exclusively, is that through our relationships, through even our businesses, having children, I don't have any, but watching that in relationships, is women lose themselves because we give so much to other people. And understanding who we are is empowering AF. Being able to say who we are, what we believe in, having an opinion about Black Lives Matter, not being wishy-washy about it, having a stance, being very clear what we want for our country, what's unacceptable, racism in our country, white supremacy in our country, all of the things, and then just your business in general. Like, what is your stance? What is your point of view in your relationships, in your business, and social media? All of it. Because wishy-washiness, right now, I'll be totally honest. Here's the deal. I think wishy-washiness in general is completely unacceptable, but especially when it comes to really, really important matters of our country. And I'm continuing to educate myself, and I think people need to continue to educate themselves. And if you think it's not a thing, you're so fucking wrong. Sorry, but you're just so wrong. And so understanding that you've got to have a point of view, you've got to have an opinion, and that takes figuring out who you are. That means having an opinion, getting clear, using your voice, being able to have conversations with people, and getting very clear about that. And yeah, I mean, for that matter, it might be supporting the other side, which, again, we're not going to probably be in relationship, and that's perfectly okay. Actually, whatever. That part is okay. Being part of systemic racism is not okay, but that's not what this is about. But it's very, very, very important in our world right now. And that's, as I'm saying it, I'm practicing what I preach and having an opinion about that. So all of that is what I like to call building your side of the net. So I've talked about codependency ad nauseum on this podcast, and in all the work that I do, I teach you those things about staying on your side of the net on the tennis court, building up your side of the net so that you don't have to be a bossy leaper and jump on the other side of the net and try to manage and control other people, which I'm seeing a lot of right now. I mean, so much of it. You need to think this, you need to think this, like all of it going on, or being a bossy leaper or being a doormat. And so that means allowing people to jump on your side of the net and manage and control you. And as far as I know, I don't think there's ever been any stats done on codependency styles. But my guess is, actually, I created that, by the way. So I haven't done any research on that. But there's definitely personality type correlations for that. So I guess I'll digress for a second and talk about that. So bossy leapers People who jump on the other side of the net and try to manage and control other people are absolutely more thinkers, regardless of gender, absolutely more J's, and absolutely more S's, and probably for that matter, more extrovert. So a good ESTJ, which was what I was married to, very, very bossy leaper. I'm going to jump over there, tell you how to think, tell you what you should do. Very extroverted in his opinions. My way is the highway. I'm logical, so it's my way. This is some sort of dictatorship. There was not like a relationship where I had value because he was always right because he had logic, which is complete and utter bullshit. Wow, I am all over the place. I hope you're following me. I apologize. I'm literally all over the place. I swear to God, I will get to where are you going. And then the J, just bossy and controlling. So, I mean, I definitely share that bossing and controlling, but that whole kind of ESTJ, it's my way or the highway, that's not a relationship. That's a dictatorship. That is a bossy leaper. And in personality type, understanding codependency, understanding our type, we've got to learn to do better. And so the other side, I would say probably the ultimate type on the other side, which not ironically is the exact opposite of the other ESTJ, is an INFP. So introverts, because, they just are more introverted. N's, because we don't use facts. We don't have facts. We just base off of how we feel. Feelers, we're not very logical. Again, we base things also off of how we feel. And then P's, because they are typically not as bossy and more go with the flow, they oftentimes are doormats. So as an ENFJ, this was also how I am. I call myself a recovering codependent. I think all codependency is part of a recovery program. And I, even as an ENFJ, only sharing 2 of those qualities, am absolutely the doormat. And so learning this about yourself, choosing to read about this, Melody Beattie is the expert. Codependent No More is the book that completely changed my life. So that was a huge 3 or 4 or 5 minute side conversation, but I hope you enjoyed it. And so now let's really, really talk about where are you going? So this is the stage 2 of this whole thing that I love to talk about. Who are you? Where are you going? And how are you going to get there? And where are you going is all about our mindset and allowing ourselves to be creative, allowing ourselves to think outside the box, allowing ourselves to dream, and to be the true visionaries of our business. So again, this series in particular is about business. So the book Rocket Fuel by Gino Wickman. So he wrote Traction, which was also excellent, but I particularly love Rocket Fuel because it gets to the whole part about being a visionary versus an integrator. And the visionary role of our business as intuitive types, which is what Don't Do Stuff You Suck at Entrepreneurial School is all for. It's for the creative, visionary intuitives, that we need to learn to do things differently. And when you join the program, by the way, you get Live Unapologetically for free. The sooner you join, the quicker you can start that program before we even start the second program, is learning that we, as 25% of the population, are built different. We love to be thinking about where are we going. Using goal cards, which is something that I learned from my very first coach, Fabienne Fredrickson. Writing down specifically, but creatively and big picture and in flow what we want out of our life and business. So SMART goals, by the way, are for sensors. They do not work for intuitive types. I've been using my Do Less Planner by Kate Northup, who's my coach right now. And I love her freaking planner. it's about your cycles. So it's less about business. It's more about tracking our female cycles, and when we're in our luteal phase or our follicular phase, or when we're menstruating, or like how we show up in this world. By the way, I highly, 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 highly recommend it. Her book, Do Less, and working with her, it just clicked for me last week. I read her book last summer, and it was very, very powerful, but it just clicked for me last week. So anyway, her planner is so for intuitives. So her daily planner, it has smiley faces and sad faces, and you're supposed to circle which one you are. That, my friends, is how intuitives like to plan. We like feeling, smiley faces, big picture, how are you feeling, versus SMART goals, which are very specific. This is what it's called: specific, measurable, actionable. What's R? Relatable, maybe reliable. I don't know, something. And then T, I think, is trackable. I don't know. I might even have those all wrong. I think the first three are right, but the last two might be wrong. Measurable. That's M. I already said that. Anyway, we can't function in that. We can't function in that. Again, if I was to pull out Michael Hyatt's planner, which is 1000% made for sensors, I bought it thinking, I don't know what I was thinking. A sensor recommended it for me. Amy Porterfield said she loves it. I don't know why I took her recommendation. We're totally different. And I started using the planner, and I was like, I fucking hate this thing. This is just does not work for my intuitiveness. It's over here on my bookshelf. I reference it for something what not to do. But what we do is, like, my journal is absolutely, of course, designed for intuitive types. It's quarterly, like, journal. It's juicy and open-ended and all the yummy things. It even has blank pages because that's how we like to dream and manifest. And then Kate's book, her planner, is all about, like, just delicious, yummy, smiley faces. You get to circle things. Like, it's just how we are. And so if you're listening to this right now and thinking, who knows, you might be new to me and just be like, oh my God, this is so interesting. Like, I continue to hear this from people in my courses that they overwhelmingly seeming never stop learning about why intuitives are so different and how we need to do things different, and specifically about where we are going. Because so many intuitive types beat themselves up month after month, year after year, about why isn't this S coach teaching me the things that I need? Why am I not connecting? Why do SMART goals not work for me? Why do planners like Michael Hyatt's and others, why does that shit not work for me? And the reason is a very simple answer, is because you are an intuitive type. And our brains are literally wired differently. So we love things like goal cards. I will teach you about that. Mind mapping. This is how we get the crazy out of our brain. This is how we just like verbal diarrhea onto a piece of paper about all the stuff that's going on in our head. It's this beautiful way of getting out all of the mind clutter versus line by line by line. That does not work for us. So, I don't even know what it's called, but like A and B and then subset 1.2, blah, that does not work for us. That does not work for us. And if someone's tried to make you do that in the past and you're like, why does this not work for me? My friends, there's nothing wrong with you. You're totally awesome. We just do things differently. We need to learn how to mind map, which is a visual representation of the chaos going on in our intuitive brains at all time. We also need to be around like-minded people to figure out where we are going. When we are around S's, it really stifles our creativity. It makes, so love it. I mean, I have a lot of S's in my life that I love very, very, very much, but I have called them dream killers for years. And it's because they are much, much, much more practical than we are. And they will say things like, well, how are you going to afford that? Or are you sure that's realistic? Or you need to do it this way. Or what about health insurance? Or what about your 9 to 5? Or what about a savings account? Or what, all of the S worries that don't relate to us. I write that in my book, Don't Do Stuff You Suck At. Like, there's an answer for everything. There's Roth IRAs, people. There are SBA loans for, COVID relief. Like, there are things for entrepreneurs to help us figure out where we're going. We cannot, sorry, S's, we cannot listen to you. We cannot listen to reasoning. We cannot listen to the naysayers. I'm sorry, we can't. That is why Don't Do Stuff You Suck At Entrepreneurial School has a mastery program after it that is very, very, very affordable. I'm making it basically the price of a therapy session per month. As a former therapist, I knew a lot of people that absolutely everybody seems to, well, not everybody, but lots and lots and lots of people can afford a therapy session or two a month. This, I'm pricing it the same as that because I know how important it is to have like-minded people. I know because I went through it. I still have some naysayers in my life. And I have to learn to go la 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 la. Nope, I need to go hang out with my mastermind, with my coach, with my paid mastermind, my unpaid mastermind, my entrepreneurial friends. I need to stay connected to that. Drum roll, please. Everybody, my once-a-year signature business course is almost here. We are opening the doors to our second annual summer school Monday, June 15th for 2 weeks only. That's June 15th through the 30th. Don't Do Stuff You Suck At Entrepreneurial School for Creative and Visionary Intuitives is a proven 8-stage process to build your business the right way in the right order, specifically for intuitive types. We are only 25% of the population, so therefore we need a different approach than the rest of them out there in the muggle world. So I built that for us, and I gotta say, it's pretty damn amazing. So this summer, in July and August, we will spend 8 weeks going over the 8 stages in a beautifully designed and easy to use online platform filled with videos, handouts, homework, PDFs that you have lifetime access to, by the way. Then every single week, we will have a Q&A call on Zoom so that we connect. I don't love me barking at you through a Facebook Live, so we're actually going to be able to see each other and have dialogue, and it's awesome. At the end of the 8 weeks together, this group only will have a special invitation into an ongoing mastery group for continued implementation, support, and guidance through the 8 stages. But you have to be in now to get access to that ongoing mastery group. You guys, I get it. Times are tough right now, and I can honestly say one of the main things keeping me going right now is having a stable business, things to do in my business that can withstand a few punches now and again. And I want to teach you the same. This is your only opportunity in 2020, so please don't let it pass you by. So go to jessicabutts.com now to get your special... Okay, I'm not supposed to do this, so I'm going to get in trouble from my team. But go to jessicabutts.com. You'll just see it right there on the page to get a special insider podcast listener only early registration. We're technically not opening it until June 15th, but I love you guys. You guys are so dang loyal. You listen every single week. I can see it on there, so don't tell anybody. I cannot wait to meet you, connect with you, teach you everything I know about building a beautiful business the right way, the intuitive way, help you embrace your unique and special intuitiveness, and help you build a stable and successful life and business. Can't wait to see you. Another way we figure out where we're going is, of course, vision boards. It's nothing new. It's kind of old school, but that shit works. And I've talked about this ad nauseum in other podcasts, but when I went to hypnotherapy school and became trained as a hypnotherapist, the main thing that I learned and took from that is that our subconscious brains are 90% of us. Our conscious brains are 10. So wherever I can put awesome sayings, pictures of where I want to go, building my world, having a clean, tidy home. I mean, this is so dorky, but it works. Having a clean, tidy home, having an office that inspires me, having a home that inspires you, putting pictures of things that inspire you on your bathroom mirror, on your kitchen, on your refrigerator, in your kitchen, in your office, in your car, wherever you spend a lot of time. What are you listening to? Uplifting podcasts, all the things. That is all part of the 90% of our subconscious. So another part of where are we going is learning how to set boundaries. That is a big part of the whole codependency and cutting out some of the naysayers, is setting boundaries so that we have space to dream. Thinking outside the box, being creative, setting boundaries with your children, your spouse, your partner, your family members. I mean, your extended family members, even around setting boundaries of this is my time as an entrepreneur. I've shared this story a million times as well, that when I started my business, working from home, busting my ass, my husband at the time would leave for his 9-to-5 job while I'm busting my ass building this business. And he would leave me a honey-do list as if I'm doing absolutely nothing during the day. I'm not sure anything infuriated me more. It was so disrespectful. I was so unseen, unheard, unloved, unvalidated for all the work that I was putting in, and not setting a boundary of saying, no, bro, no, we can do this weekend, or you can do it. I will take half of this list and you need to do the other half, because that's what partnerships do. Or going and getting an office space. Does that make you feel better if I'm not in the home working? Setting boundaries is about talking to the people in your life about how important your business is, how important this dream of yours is. I'm going to tell you right now, it's more than a full-time job. You never stop. I will talk about the funnel a ton. My second favorite F word, as I like to joke, in the Don't Do Stuff You Suck At program. And the bottom of that funnel, how we get clients, is ABM, always be marketing. And that means being an entrepreneur is awesome and exhausting, because you never really get to stop. Yes, you can learn how to do it. I'm going to teach you the ways. I'm about to do it. I'm talking about on the podcast of doing seasonal podcasts, seasonal energy. So I literally can take some time off, but it is not a 9-to-5. It does not stop when you leave your work. So learning how to set boundaries, learning how to tell people that this is very important to me. I'm having an entrepreneurial baby and it needs my full attention. I'm either growing a human in my body, or I've birthed a human, and I now need to take care of it with all of my time, not all of my time and energy. I'll teach you about compartmentalization as well, about giving 100% of your energy when you're doing that. But that takes setting boundaries. That takes being compartmentalized, of being with your partner and being fully with your partner, being with your children and being fully with your children, being with your friends and forgetting to take pictures because you're so compartmentalized and happy to be with them. This takes work to get where are you going. So that visionary role also takes a mindset shift. So getting into an entrepreneurial mindset is a whole new situation. It takes awareness. That's the whole course of Live Unapologetically, which you absolutely get for 3. It's 3 stages. It's figuring out, wow, this is who I am. This intuitive part of me is really, really been suppressed, been oppressed most of my life. And now as 25% of the population, I'm coming out as like this minority, this weirdo, this creative freak in a world of a bunch of structured censors. And so we've got to like really, really honor that. And then it's learning the new intuitive way for you, which a lot of these I just mentioned, gold cards and mindset and mind mapping and calendars. And, we're going to talk about next week, system, structure, and singular focus, which is a trademark system that I came up with in my intellectual property about learning specifically for intuitive types, how to have structure, because we love to squirrel, how to then have systems in your business to help you not squirrel, and then absolutely having a singular focus. And then the last stage of kind of understanding and having awareness around your weirdo intuitiveness is then implementing and having a new intuitive way. So absolutely like figuring out your intuitiveness, learning the new intuitive ways, and then basically your new intuitive life, your new intuitive habits. How are you going to start implementing them every single day and not going back on those? So my friends, again, last week, all about who are you? This week, all about where are you going? Living beyond 5 minutes in front of your face. And then next week, again, I said this at the start of this podcast, that it's not each of these individually, it's all of them together. Because next week, we're going to talk about how are you going to get there, which is then living further than 5 minutes in front of your face, systems and structures and singular focus. How do you take the where are you going and actually make it fucking happen? Because that's what I see so often with my clients, right? They're all about like, where am I going? And I'm going to dream and I'm going to do this thing. And this is so great. And I have all the ideas, but then they don't do anything about it. Somebody today signed up for the Don't Do Stuff You Suck At program. And we had this beautiful call. And she was saying, this is my thing. This is my problem. I've got all the ideas in the world, but I need some structure and some systems. And that is step 3, is how are you going to get there? So my friends, I will see you next Friday for the last of the series. Again, Don't Do Stuff You Suck At is open for 2 weeks only. So the airing date of this is June 19th. Today, if you're listening to this today, you want to get in today because all of the first week, opening week bonuses stop. So if you've ever wanted to take the actual MBTI, the Myers-Briggs type indicator, the real official tool built by Isabella Myers and her daughter, this is it. I'm gifting it to you. It's a $97 value. It's completely free with the course this week only. It expires this week. I will not be giving it next week. I'm sorry, but that's part of my systems and structures. It's already in place. And then next week on the 26th, Friday the 26th, we will be talking about how are you going to get there. And then cart closes, my friend, June 30th. So it's open June 15th to June 30th, and we start on July 13th. So summer school, my friends, it is life changing. It is life giving. I've had clients this week come back and just be like, I already know all this, but I need some life giving. I need some entrepreneurial love. And I'm like, welcome back, my friends. Welcome back. All right, I'm packing up my notes, 6:42 p.m. That is very rare for me to do these in the evening. I'm going to go have a glass of wine, take a load off, watch some of the world happenings in our world. And I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you next Friday. Bye. From the bottom of my heart, truly, thank you so much for listening. I know that you have a ton of options, and the fact that you are taking time to listen to the Front Seat Life podcast means absolutely everything to me. If you're interested in learning more about the Front Seat Life way of life in the community, there's a couple ways that you can do that. First is always starting with your personality assessment tool. It's available on my website at jessicabutts.com. It's totally free, and it will help you figure out your personality type so you'll have some idea of what we're talking about. Next is, if you're interested in hiring me for a keynote or some coaching or strategy days or the fabulous and amazing Front Seat Life community, you can find out all about all of that at jessicabutts.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.